do spiders, grass, and dirty doorknobs have to do with preparing your home for sale in the spring season? It's The Real Estate Show. Welcome to The Real Estate Show. My name is Rick Naples, owner-broker of Zone Realty LLC. You zone your home. Springtime. Well, seems like it's far away. Right now, it's probably still cold outside. We may still have some snow on the ground. You know, those remnants that are left that are tough to get melted. But the warmer weather is coming, and our attentions turn towards the spring selling season. Now, why spring? Well, spring is a time of renewal. Obviously, we come out of that cold weather in the wintertime. The weather gets warmer. And I've talked many times here on previous real estate shows about the spring selling season, about how homes that were on the market in the previous winter and taken off for the winter break start to come back on the market for sale, how homes that were going to be put on in the market start to come on because people want to put them on in the spring, so they're moving in the warm weather. And then those homes that appear either because of the bank releasing foreclosures or people who've just decided something's changed in their life and it's time to put their home on sale. It all means that more houses are going to be coming on the market. So you're going to have some competitiveness between homes that are being offered to buyers. So what are some of the little things that you can do that are going to help separate your home from, say, other houses that are for sale? Well, here are some of my tips. Number one, I mentioned at the beginning of the show spiders. Now, what I mean by that, folks, is not spiders infestation crawling all over your house. These are those little spiders that seem to hide in unusual places throughout your home. One of the tips that I mentioned in a previous real estate show was about how it's important to take the time during your spring cleaning, especially when your home is being put on the market, to clean your windows. And along with cleaning the windows, making sure that the window frames and the sills are also clean. And we'll go one step beyond and say if you have draperies or curtains or blinds, cleaning those also. But the idea is to bring the outside light into the home, to make your home look bright and cheery and welcoming. You want that outside light to come in. One of the things that we seem to forget is spiders. Those little spiders that make those little teeny webs in the far corners of our doors or in the far corners of our windows. Usually in the windows, it's up behind where the blinds are mounted. You have those little white spider nests. You want to make sure you clear all those out of there too, rather than just wiping the window and forgetting that. It's also important to look at any kind of cobwebs or drifting, as I call it, of dust that gathers along where the ceiling and the wall meets. You know, during the winter time, we're all using heat. Heat causes the air to rise as it's heating, and if there's any dust particles that are floating around in the house, they tend to stick in that little crevice that's between your ceiling and your wall. So you want to just kind of go along and make sure you clean all that out. Now, the reason why I mention all those things is buyers tend to pick on the things that are unusual. They're looking at the house, but if they see any kind of a flaw or any hint of something that they're going to have to do in addition to just moving into the house, this starts rolling around in their brain as things that they may need to do and how they're going to form their offering on the house. One of the other things that I came across in a couple of articles, and I've actually done myself over the years, is when it comes to your grass outside. Now, once the snow has melted, even during this season as we're starting to see the flowers start to rise and the weather start to get warmer, you're going to go out and you're going to clean up your yard. You're going to remove any debris that's fallen through the winter. You're going to trim back any bushes, any dead leaves, or trim dead branches off of trees or whatever. But your grass is going to begin to grow, so you're going to be mowing it like you normally do. One of the tricks is to mow your lawn on a diagonal. Now, how many out there that are watching the show today have noticed that a lot of times when you see the professional landscapers out there, when they're mowing commercial properties, they don't just go back and forth. They mow on an angle. You get those nice, crisp, diagonal lines going in each direction as the mower goes back and forth. Well, there's two reasons, I should say, in doing that. Number one, when you mow on a diagonal, it gives the illusion of the yard looking larger than what it really is. It makes it more pleasing to the eye. It doesn't cause more effort to mow on a diagonal as it would be back and forth, but it does give a larger look to the yard. The other thing that you need to do is pay attention to driveway ends and also edging along, say, sidewalks. If you keep those nice and trimmed and crisp and straight, it gives an impression to a potential buyer that you're a person that likes the small details and you take care of the property. So mow on a diagonal and make sure you edge along your driveway and along your sidewalks. The third thing I wanted to talk about is doorknobs. When you're doing your spring cleaning, one of the things that you can do is go around and look at all the doorknobs throughout the home. Now, depending on how the light is falling on the door, you may notice that the doorknob itself and around where the doorknob goes into the door, it's kind of a little smudgy or dirty. This is from people's fingers grabbing the door and opening it and closing it. So you want to wash around the doorknob and wash the doorknob itself. You also want to go through and not only wash the doorknobs, but make sure there's no sticky residue on those particular doors or any handles in the cabinets and so on and so forth. Because that sometimes happens as we're busy in life. We may have been cooking, we may go through something and we had something on our hand and it caused the doorknob to get sticky. Nothing worse than when a buyer is going through a home, they grab a closet door or they grab a kitchen cabinet, they go to open it and the doorknob is dirty or sticky or whatever. It's going to make the wrong impression. I put together a presentation with some of the ideas of little things that you can do to help prepare your home for sale or maybe even help set it apart to the other homes that come on the market in the spring season. Let's take a look. talking here on the real estate show about preparations when you're putting your home on the market, especially in the spring season when we might see a lot more inventory or more homes come on the market for sale. Little things that you can do that will separate your home from the pack, the other homes that are out there. We talked about cleaning those little spider webs out that we find in the corners of the windows, any dust mites or dust spider webs that you see where the wall meets the ceiling. We talked about mowing your grass on a diagonal, and I was also talking about cleaning around the doorknobs as well as the doorknobs themselves. Some of the other things are the standards, and we've gone over those here on the real estate show. Removing any clutter, reducing the amount of furniture that's in a room so a room looks more open. The rule is 75. 75% of a wall should be empty. So you want to take collections down. You want to take personal family pictures down and things along those lines. I want to talk about the garage if you have one. Now the garage can be used for people to put their cars in. It could be used for all the excess lawn equipment or kids' toys like bicycles and so on and so forth. It may be a workshop where you have your workbench, but you want to make sure that your garage also presents itself as neat as possible. Now, I do understand that there are folks that are going to reduce things in the home so the home shows nicer, and where are they going to put it? They're going to store it in the garage because that's where eventually is going to be their staging area when they're moving out of the house. But if you can go through your garage and clean it up so that it looks presentable, is really important. There's nothing worse than someone checking out a garage and seeing it completely disheveled and unorganized. There are oil stains all over the floor in the garage. You can't move around in it. It's cluttered with a lot of things. Remember, buyers are looking for space. So if you can neaten the things up in your garage, or even go to the point of where you know you're going to move, so rent an outside storage place someplace where you can remove those excess items, it all leads to the impression of the home when you're looking to sell it. There are several philosophies when it comes to making your home appeal to potential buyers, and one of them is depersonalize. And the depersonalization of a home basically means that if you have any specific types of collections, pack those collections up and put them away. Not only for safety reasons, to protect the collection itself, but also to help the buyer imprint their own ideas on the home. Another technique is to look at each and every single room and the condition that the rooms are in. If you have one of these big, beautiful open rooms and it has hardwood floors, what kind of condition are the hardwood floors in? Do they need to be waxed? Do they need to be cleaned or polished? Look at the walls. What condition are the walls in? Are the walls dirty? Does it need to be repainted? Are there any holes that should be patched? Things along those lines. The little details. Let's talk about paint. And I've mentioned this again several times on the real estate show. The idea with paint is to do things neutrally. What I mean by that is you want to neutralize the colors in your home. Now, a lot of us have personal tastes. I've seen many people use the idea of what's called an accent wall. That's where there's one wall in a room that's painted a slightly different color or a darker color than the rest of the room. You want to take a look at that. Maybe have a friend or a relative come in and give their opinion. Or if you're interviewing realtors, have them give an opinion as to what that is going to make as far as an impression. As I said, the philosophy is to go with neutral colors. One of the more popular colors is a soft gray color. It's a neutral color, and grays tend to take on whatever's in the room, depending on how the light is. They can look gray, they can look neutral white, they can look, sometimes I've seen like green or blue shade, depending on how the light hits the room. And as far as the bold colors are concerned, recommendations are to tone those colors down, especially if you use red. Red was a very popular color to use in kitchens. A lot of folks nowadays, when they're shopping for homes, don't like a boldly red kitchen. So you might want to tone that down, again, to a soft gray or use a soft off-white color or something along those lines. Try to keep it neutral, because the whole idea of selling your home is to make it attractive to as many buyers as possible that come to see it. You want the buyer to come in and see them as the owner of the home, not you. After all, you are trying to sell your home. Spring is a wonderful time because it is a time of renewal. It's a time to take a look at everything that you have as far as the home is concerned and preparing it for sale. It's time to do your spring cleaning, go through the house and do the normal things that you would do for spring cleaning, and go that extra yard when you're looking to put your home on the market. One of the other things that you need to look at that I feel is quite important is your basement. Now, if you have a basement that has living space, heated living space in it, like a family room or a game room or something along those sorts, you want to pay attention to that room itself. You want to make sure that just like the upstairs and the rest of the house, the basement is also organized and neat. You want to emphasize space. If you have a smaller home, it becomes really important to emphasize size and give the impression that the rooms are a lot bigger. One of the simple techniques that a lot of stagers will do to get a small room to look bigger is to not only paint it in a lighter color, but install mirrors. Now, mirrors are an interesting thing because placement of a mirror, and I'm not talking about a cosmetic mirror that you place, so you can see yourself while, if you're a man shaving or a woman putting your makeup on or whatever. I'm talking about accent mirrors. Depending on where you place them in a room, the mirror will reflect light or elongate the feeling of the room. A lot of times they'll tell you to place the mirror directly across from whatever the entrance is into the room, because that allows the eye to go to the mirror and get the feeling that the room is much longer or wider than it actually is. Make sure that if you do have any mirrors like that, that they're clean. We tend to not notice fingerprint smudges on the glass of the mirror itself. So you want to go through and make sure you clean all those mirrors because you want them to accomplish what they've been placed there for. This is the portion of the real estate show I call the Real Estate Mailbag, allowing me to answer questions that are emailed to us here at the Real Estate Show, asked to me when I'm out and about in the public, or even in discussions that I have with other realtors. Today's commentary is going to be about something I talked about earlier in this show, and that is paint and paint colors. I get a lot of times questions asked to me is, what is the simplest thing I can do to help make my home look fresh, to look new? Well, the answer is paint. When you're looking at other projects that you can do around the home, paint is probably the most inexpensive way to go, but you want to be very careful on what colors you pick to paint rooms. You want those rooms to reflect what you want the room to tell a buyer. Again, as I said, if you're doing a small room, you want to use lighter colors so that the room looks bigger. One of the other things that I get asked a lot as far as simple things to do is, give me a list of some inexpensive things I can do around the house that will help me in making my house appeal to a buyer. Well, fix the small stuff. My name is Rick Naples. This has been the Real Estate Show. I thank you very much for watching. See you next time.